What's up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And this afternoon, we have a very interesting formation on the chart that is confusing and doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And so I wanted to analyze or show you how I analyze this very strange, weird looking chart and try to make sense out of it and tell you what I think is going to happen just based on the 4-hour, the 1 day, and the 1 week chart without knowing anything else and without taking into account any of the popular opinions that are floating around the YouTubes right now. But we're just going to take a look and I'll show you why it's strange and then what possibly could happen. First of all, why this is weird. This doesn't normally happen this way where you're coming down from failure here, you're falling, and then you start side banding and creating this wedge. So this is normally what you would see as a bear flag, okay? Because you've got your flagpole right here, there's your pole, and then here's the pennant or the flag coming out. And then you have your apex, the point that the triangle comes together. Sometimes a bear flag will look like this, where here's your action, like what we did on the last bear flag. And as we're bouncing around, it makes more of a rectangular flag instead of a pennant flag. But here we see that we have a pennant flag. And what usually happens on these pennants when they're going up and down, what I've noticed in the past, when you see this up and down action, where you've got the same angle that is on both sides of the triangle, where we're going upward here at like a 20-degree angle and going downward here at like a 20-degree angle. Whenever you see that, let's get an arrow here. So these, whoops, dang it, arrow tool. Whenever this slope is the exact opposite of this slope, and you have a triangle that is symmetrical, that means to me, when I see this in history, the chances of it breaking out to the upside and to the downside is 50-50. Let's put that on here. So we're going to say 50-50 on the breakout. That's what I've always noticed. Now, if this was the regular pennant where you had the rectangular formation, I think the chances are a lot higher of that breaking to the downside and not the upside. So that's what I've noticed. And all the time that I've been in crypto, that even if it's going up, if you're moving up like this and then all of a sudden you do a formation that looks like that, okay, this would be different because the slope of the bottom part of the triangle, why do I keep getting the wrong line? Dang it, straight line. Look at the slope when you connect the dots here, okay, and then look at the slope when you connect the dots here. Are these equal? No, they are not, because the slope of the bottom line is ascending. The slope of the top line is flat. It's not the reverse. So now let's make another one, and let's change that. Price action doing this, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's put some lines on it. Slope of the bottom line like this, slope of the top line like that. Now, what is the slope of the bottom? Ascending about 20 degrees. What's the slope of the top? Descending about 20 degrees. And so this is a symmetrical triangle or a pennant. So here is where you've got that 50-50 chance of going up or down once you get to the end of this. And they usually don't make it out to the end. They usually fall out before you get to the tip. That's why this is so confusing, because we went all the way to the end of this thing before we fell out here at the bottom. And then after we fell out, it was not a definitive move up or down. I'm thinking that it's going to go like this or this, and we didn't get either. So here we got this slight little cup movement. You got a bowl like a cup and handle. Whoops. I don't know what is wrong with my indicators today, but I can't get this stupid drawing tool to work right. You get a little bowl right there, and now we've made kind of a cup and a handle pattern, but not really, because usually a handle is very small like that. Like here's your handle on your little teacup if you make a cup out of that. So we're not matching anything here. We don't have a huge break up. We don't have a huge breakdown. We don't have a cup and handle, but we did this weird slight dip move, and then we rolled on up up here to the 200 EMA line, got rejected right there. And notice how we magically get rejected at the bottom of this historic support resistance zone. And notice how it magically happened to get there when the 200 EMA line finally made its way, averaging down to the bottom of this channel. So that's a double there. And then we get this rejection right here, and now we're coming down. And notice also that we're down below the 50 EMA. And notice that we are right at the point of control price right now as I'm making this video, 30,000. On the visible range of this chart, we have more Bitcoin bought at 30,000, and that's what this volume node is here that sticks out to right there, than any other price. We also have a very popular price point where there's a lot of Bitcoin bought at 29,340. And that's what this node is that sticks out to there. There's another node that's way up here at around 32, which I thought, this would hold it for a while, but we see that right after we finish this node right there, here, let's clear this out so you can see this. Here's this node here. Notice how once we got off of this node, what do? Slip zone. You know how I'm always talking about slip zones. So after we fell off of this big node, we slipped down to the next one. See that? Now we're just below the point of control price, so we could slip down to this next one right there. And then, God forbid, if we go below this black dashed line, that's a not good thing, okay? Because once we get below that black dashed line, if we close a daily candle below that black line, we're going to slip out of here really hard and fast because there's nothing left to catch us. All right, now the stochastic is going down like this, okay? And we see a big divergence between the slow line and the fast line. They're very far apart. So that means momentum is strong downward, and we're headed towards this oversold zone down here, and we're not even close to that yet, which tells me that we're probably going to at least slip down towards that black line. That's bearish on the 4-hour, and then we also have a bearish crossover right there. You see that? The oscillators on the MACD, which is slower than the oscillators on the stochastic. The fast line, the blue one, has crossed over the orange line, the slow one. We have a definite crossover. And now the histogram is printing these little bars underneath the zero line. Here's the zero line. Remember that. So when we go below the zero line on the histogram, we get these red bars. When we're above it, we get these green ones. If it's dark green, it's moving up. If it's light green, it's moving down. And if it's dark red, it's moving down fast. If it's light red, it's trying to make its way back to the zero line. That is how that works. So bearish temporarily, here's what this prognosis is looking like. Now, let's jump to the 1-day chart, and then we'll go to the 1-week chart. We'll see what it looks like so we can tell, well, what's going to happen next. Scrunch this down a little bit, and you can clearly see here, wow, that the rejection at this support resistance zone, that was tough. See how it went up? Bang! Doji candle down. The doji is that one in between where you see the you've got your wicks above and below, and then the body of the candle is just one little line. That's a doji. Okay, do you see that doji hiding in there? That's usually a reverse point. So this is ugly. And now we're heading towards this volume node that peaks out right here at 29. I think we're probably going to go below 30 here very soon. And when we look at the stochastic, what do we see here? What's that looking like to you? Well, it looks like to me that the fast line is about to cross over the slow line. It's curling over. See that? So once this crossover happens, we're probably going to head south. And then what do we notice on the MACD? The fast line curling over, looking like it's coming towards the slow line now. It looks like there could possibly be a crossover there, and then this starts to go south. What else do we see? We see that we have gone from dark green bars to a light green bar on the histogram. That says that momentum is going down. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to continue that way. You could always have a crossover and a fake out, and then it returns up. That happens. This could cross over like that, and then it could cross over bullish, bearish again. You can get faked out like crazy, and this histogram can go down and then jump back up. But for right now, it looks like the momentum is downward and that we're going to get a crossover right there. So that's a little bearish, continuance of the bearishness. And then we can see here, instead of getting a nice, clean, here's our flagpole, and, instead of getting a flag like that, we got the wedge instead. And so there's your wedge, and it looks like almost a pennant with symmetrical edges on the triangle, right? Even though the top one is slightly more sloped than the bottom on this picture. But if I corrected them and we made this the point, they would be equal. And so that's why we get the 50-50. But there was the break to the upside, and now we're reversing to the downside. So honestly, I don't know what that means. A quick run up and a run down. I would have thought that, the break would have been a lot stronger. But since we moved up and now we have this strong red candle here on the daily, momentum is downward. And to me, there's a possibility of failure where we start to go down like that. But we need to look at the 1 week chart to see overall, the big picture. What is this thing trying to do? What's it trying to tell us on the 1 week? Well, I thought we were going to have a very nice rebound on this 1 week a while back, and it was because of this action right there. Do you see it? Tell me what you see here. What do we see? Well, it looked like after stochastic running down that we had a crossover right there where it's supposed to go up. But now what did that blue line do? Well, here's what it looks like. If you zoom in, the fast line starts to come up and look like it's doing this, but then boom, it goes back down. See that right there? This is a blow up of this right here. So we had that bullish crossover and it's moving up, but then all of a sudden it turns 90 degrees and starts to go south again. Now, based on that, this could continue down into the, let's get a line here. This could continue down into the oversold zone. I mean, there's plenty of room where you could really dip down and get a very nasty dip on the price. We can see that in the past that we've dipped a lot lower. Look how low that one is right there. So we're way lower than the last dip, and it was even lower than this one right here. We've got room to grow. We're not in the oversold zone yet on the 1 week stochastic because we're not below this 20 line. See this 20 right there? Whenever you go below that 20, we call that oversold. We call this the oversold zone. We call this the overbought zone. All right. And they usually mark the extreme ends of cycles. Okay. So we got room. We could go down there. And based on that and based on the momentum of this, look at these peaks. There's still the oscillators on the MACD peak out here. Lower high, lower high. Overall movement is downward. And we see that we have negative bars on the histogram, even though we've got a light one forming here, probably from that fake out reverse that just flipped back over bearish. And this could go back to dark red here. But we see a divergence here between the fast and the slow line, and the overall angle is going down. So all I can tell from this, and not considering anything that anybody is saying on YouTube, is that we're still in a downtrend and we're still moving down. And I'm looking at this node and I'm looking at this node right here, that if the downward momentum continues, then there's one at 23,000 and here's another one at 18,900. Those are the extremes. And then we got this one node sticking out at like 26. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. We'll see what the extent of the price dip is if this stochastic runs us deep down into the oversold zone. So that's what it's looking like. None of this is financial advice. I'm just watching the show and calling it as I see it and telling you what I expect to happen based on probability and what the chart is saying today. And that could change tomorrow, but hopefully that's helpful to you. Post your comments below and let me know what your thoughts are. And please, as always, I would love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Pro channel. And if you are so motivated, you can pop me over a super thanks. I always forget what it's called, super thanks, to help support the channel because this is expensive. And I spend a few $100s a month with all the junk that I got to pay for licensing and internet access, high speed, this and that and the other. It's expensive. So if you want to help out, please, by all means, you may do so. And stay tuned because I've got more coming at you. This is Carlton, and I am completely and totally out.